Note is back, and this is not a drill. I can't believe it right now. It feels like the simulation has broken. The fourth wall has just opened up because Monday I saw trending on Twitter under the politics section, Death Note and Ryuk. That's the lasting impact Death Note has. Then when I go into the one-shot itself, there is a panel of Ryuk handing Donald Trump the Death Note. And never in a million years did I expect this to happen. Like, is this real canon? This is something that's more like out of a super ambitious crossover AU fanfiction. But nope, this is canon. I don't know what I was expecting. I kind of do know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. It was still entertaining as hell though. Okay, the one question I wanted to see answered and explored was, what would Death Note look like in a modern technological age with social media and the internet? What would that look like with Death Note in the equation? And we do have past, I guess you can almost call them cyberpunk, or they involve like ethical hacking and technology, where you have Person of Interest, or you have Mr. Robot, which is a fantastic thriller, by the way. And in terms of anime, we have Terror in Resonance. So I kind of wanted to see what Death Note would do with that. How would they handle that? Because technology is a double-edged sword. On one hand, you can find people's names and faces much more easily. On the other hand, you can also find who Kira is more easily. So it creates obstacles, but it adds an interesting dynamic. And this one shot poses that question. It kind of teases it at the beginning, like, could Kira get away with it if he adapted to the modern age? But then Minoru, our new Kira, he's like, no, you want me to try and reduplicate what Kira did in this age? No. Come back in 2 years and I'll give you a plan. So right off the bat, this story lets you know that it's not going to just rehash the previous one. And the direction the story took was an unexpected but still pleasant surprise. However, I gotta say, the biggest surprise in that story was seeing that Trump cameo. It's a little jarring considering that the previous Death Note just kind of had a generic stand-in for the president and vice president. It was a little incongruent, but I'm not gonna lie, it was hysterical seeing Ryuk with Trump, and it kind of also poses a larger question: how might the Death Note be used or misused politically? Now, this one-shot doesn't officially answer that question, because I want to clarify here, Trump buys, but he rejects ownership of the Death Note, because it will lead to his death. I see people saying, oh, now Trump owns the Death Note. No, the whole point of that scene is he's told he will die. He's a coward, so he's like, no, I don't want it. I will just say that I have the power of Kira. And that was the gist of the scene. Okay, with that cleared out of the way, I want to get into the nitty-gritty criticism or critiques or remarks before I address that controversial ending. And just right away, I want to say the artwork is phenomenal. Like, look at that cover page. Like, I've said it before in my Platinum End video, but Obata is just a phenomenal artist. Like, that cover page with the jewel tones and the grunge and just, it looks like a editorial shoot. He's fantastic at character design, and he's phenomenal at being able to depict light. And I know how good of an artist he is, and that is why I was a little let down that we didn't get like a fantastic one-page detailed shot of the Shimi-gami realm. That would have been just the cherry on the cake for me, the icing on the cake. But that's more of a nitpicky thing. And this isn't so much a critique as it is a comment on Oba's writing style. He does plot-driven stories and not necessarily character-driven ones, so as a consequence, his characters aren't always the most well-rounded or fleshed out, and particularly in this one, We know next to nothing about Minoru as a protagonist. Like, we know he's intelligent, and we know that he looks like a smug K-pop boy. And I see people, like, adoring him and loving him all over social media. And they're like, yay! He's a socialist, and he helped redistribute America's wealth to his country, and it's booming, and he's fantastic. But they're not taking into account that he tried to sell off a dangerous death note to the highest bidder. He's still a little bit questionably morally gray here. He didn't want to think of a way to create a fake death note. He didn't want to think of a way to get it back. No, he's like, it's not my problem. I want to forget all of this and live a happy life. And as soon as he said it, I was like, ooh, child, that's going to come back to haunt you. And oh boy, it did, because he died there at the end. And I'm sure that ending might be divisive for some people. They might be wondering, why did Minoru have to die? Doesn't he deserve better than to live his entire afterlife in limbo with light? On a simplistic level, my answer is that it's because of the rules. According to the new rules, whoever sells the death note dies as soon as they receive that payment. And likewise, we see Minoru dead as soon as he touches the cash. And on another level, it's poetic, it's thematic, and reinforces the core message of Death Note that whoever uses, in whatever way, whoever uses the Death Note, they meet misfortune. It's because they're humans, they are mortals, they are playing with an instrument of a death god. And I guess kind of like Icarus, human hubris causes their downfall. They cannot walk away unscathed. And that is the point, and that's what Ryuk says over and over again, that you will meet misfortune. Case in point. Minoru and Light had different methods, they had different motives, but they still had the same arrogance. And that's why they both ended up dead. And likewise, things didn't go according to Keikaku for either of them. Overall, I found the one-shot short but sweet, and it kind of makes me want to read more stories and see more of Ryuk, because Ryuk is the catalyst who gets the ball rolling.